Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be having a look at a pretty exciting and pretty cool looking tech demo that is available publicly. The game is Spintires, and what are we doing today? We're going to be doing some off-roading. This is sort of on the back of some of the success and the fact that you guys really seem to enjoy playing BeamNG Drive, and that it had some pretty experimental and very cool tech involved with the racing and driving physics system. And this one, to some degree, has a lot of the same things going for it, and only in sort of a different direction. This one is all about mud and off-roading and making big pits of mess that you're going to drive through and probably get stuck a ton of times. So in this case, we've got a Jeep and a very, very large truck that we're going to be driving through some muddy off-roading situations, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be pretty exciting. Well, it's going to be not quite as exciting probably as BeamNG Drive, just because things aren't going to be exploding and falling apart as much. We're going to be just enjoying mostly, seeing if we can traverse some interesting deformation techniques and terrain and stuff like that. So let's look at the help. Well, let's look at the settings first. There you go. You can see all the stuff that is involved here. I have these already set up the way I want them. And then we'll go to help here, and we can see quite a few things actually to look at here. Really going to simplify it though. Not all of these are necessary. There's a timer thing here that's going to actually count through a full day-night cycle. In this case, it doesn't actually matter to us, but we can manipulate it if we choose. We can set our torque off. The torque is applied to two rear axles only by triggering. Oh, this is a all-wheel drive rather. So set to on to test how having torque applied to all wheels affects the vehicle dynamics. In the final game, all-wheel drive would increase the fuel consumption, thus making the player think before turning it on. In this version, however, there are no limitations. So again, this is a totally free, just like a trial, a tech demo with. It's basically like a sandbox type situation, and we're gonna mess around with it a little bit. Per axle diff lock, when it's on, wheels on a single axle always spin with the same speed. When it's off, default torque would only be applied to a wheel that has contact with the ground. That kind of makes sense. So if one wheel hangs in the air, the other won't have any torque. Vehicle won't move. In the final game, using diff lock on hard surfaces would damage the truck, as in real world. In this version, however, use it as much as you like. Two trucks are available, light Jeep and an 8x8. Truck can be driven in two modes. We can do robotized, or we can do like manual. And if you get stuck, press the buttons, and fair enough. That's kind of all we need to see. So we can actually use the mouse to steer around, take a look around our environment. This is not the most interesting thing, though, so we're going to put it behind the car, or the Jeep in this case, and let's use the 360 controller, and that should hopefully make the... Nope, didn't make the help go away. There we go. Now the help has gone away. So we can actually toggle the mouse on and off by clicking the screen. So we're already stuck, almost. This big mess that you see in front of me, that was actually caused by me driving around in circles and trying to like get started here. This is a surprisingly wet and nasty bit of road, so we're going to have to be kind of strategic about how we choose to traverse it, and we're going to have to do a lot of forward and back movement. So for those of you out there who don't mind, getting dirty when you drive, this game might be for you. And it does take a moment to switch between gears, by the way, so when we're going from reverse to forward drive, it is not necessarily going to happen instantly. I think we want our all-wheel drive. Hold on, that's parking brake. All-wheel drive is on A, okay. That's going to help quite a bit. Okay, so there's sort of a sheer cliff on both sides of this, and that is thankfully a little bit more stable. And it looks like my back right wheel there is doing something kind of weird. I don't know. Oh, don't want to fall in there. That looks like a swampy patch. And a little bit of a terrain clipping issue. As far as I know, this game is still pretty early in development. So there are definitely going to be some issues. You can see the ground is like sinking while it finds its terrain mesh. And that is kind of interesting. I'm not sure what actually happened there, because when I drove through this before, I don't think any of that stuff was happening. But it will allow us to hopefully traverse this terrain in a more interesting way. Otherwise, it would be fairly straightforward to just drive over the road. And I think as we get to the end of this little path here, we start to find... Oh, we've got actually a whole bunch of water here. And that's actually going to send some ripples out. And, they look kind of, not finished yet, but I get that the sentiment is there. I think we could probably try and ford this thing if we wanted to. It's probably a real bad idea. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, just for entertainment value. Can I look... I'd like to look up and see... Get a good perspective here. The graphics are not bad. There's actually some cool stuff going on here with the various overlays. Oh, that is so deep. There's no way I'm going to be able to drive over that. Maybe over here? So like a land bridge. Surprising how durable these vehicles are. But I guess as in reality, they make these things to be tough. Alright, so this looked like a river, and now I'm realizing it actually isn't so much a river as it seems to be a pond or a lake. But it seems to have a current going in one direction, so I'm gonna just like drive into this and see what happens. Let's go this way. This reminds me of some of those YouTube videos of like, you know, the Russian truck drivers. Like, we don't care about reality, we're just gonna drive our truck wherever we want. And then they just drive it through, like, the middle of a lake, because they have to go where they're going, they don't care. Oh, looks like this is actually not all that deep, so I guess we were designed to do this. And, the truck is handling it, the Jeep's handling quite well, actually. Creating quite a few waves. It's actually got a little bit of, like, a white cap type cresting thing going on there with the water. And it's gotten quite dark behind me, and now there's a pretty loud noise filter, actually. So now we can do a little bit of night off-roading, if that's the type of thing you're into. We can turn on and off our headlights, and try not to crash. As much as I enjoy watching stuff crash, it's not really going to help us out in this case. It's quite anticlimactic for the most part. Oh, what's going on up here? We got big tracks, which are going to tell me there's... Oh, that's bad. There's a lot of mud here. Why is it... This is a strange spot to have the mud, isn't it? What can I do about this? I'm kind of stuck. I could put diff lock on. That might help a little bit. No. Didn't help. I think we're done. I think we'll have to reset our car. I don't think we can do anything here at all. So I will click and go to rescue, and that'll set me back at the entrance to our world. If I could just redirect our camera a little bit. What's going on behind us, by the way? I don't think I've ever driven it in the opposite direction. We will do a little bit of that. Get the camera centered up again. And what else did I want to do here? Oh, I want to fast forward it again because I don't really want it to be night right now. There we go. So make it morning. Kind of a lovely, picturesque landscape, actually. And the modeling on the trucks looks quite nice as well. Look at the edges on the, you know, the treads on the tires and everything. That's pretty well done. And, you know, the ground still has a ways to go, but for the most part it looks decent. There are definitely some situations with, like, the terrain deformation that are a little bit awkward. I've seen textures that sort of just turn into, like, a blurry color. You know, probably not ideal, but also not the end of the world either. At least since this is not even released yet. This is just a tech demo again. Yeah, that sky is quite nice, actually. Yeah, the pine trees also maybe could still use a little bit more. But then again, they're quite numerous, so maybe that should be taken into account. Some nice, probably dynamic shadows, I'm going to have a feeling. And there are some actually, like, per branch collisions that I've noticed. I'll turn my headlights off, I don't really need those anymore. Where I actually was stuck in the woods one time, and the branches were actually getting hung up and, like, caught on me in various ways. So I have a feeling if you hit the trees hard enough, stuff starts to break off of them. It was making some very interesting crackling sounds, so something to keep in mind, perhaps. I could, of course, start driving over in this direction. Maybe that's something I can do. And, of course, I'll want to try out the big old truck as well. The 8x8. Oh, do we have more? It looks like more water over here. Oh, just like a swampy region. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it up that. Alright, are we stuck already? That was kind of quick. Yeah, I seem to have just dug myself a hole with the tire there, and we're just sort of like... just filling that out, just making sure we'll never get out. It looks like we're actually moving slightly. But I think I'm actually stuck on both sides. Which I'm not sure how I pulled that off, considering, like, I didn't notice the front was into the mud until the back already was. Whatever. I guess we'll just switch cars or something. That could be fun. Alright, so we're in the big truck now. Oh, yeah, okay. This is going to have some power to it. We can see where we left the other one as well. And maybe we'll get things going. All-wheel drive on. The more wheels we get, the better. Now let's see if we can just, you know, smash through the dirt and have some fun. Let's see what's over to the left. Oh, and maybe we could watch the ground as we go. See if it's going to deform in a very large-scale way. Oh, I don't think I went this way yet. It's like a whole bunch more to see over here. We've got some light poles. We've got... it's like almost more on-the-road-ish type behavior. Oh, we can see how we respond to jumps. I didn't catch any of this before at all. Very cool. Let's see. Wow. Alright. Took the big slant pretty well, actually. Oh, what happened here? Alright, did I go into a trench? I think I have. Can we pull it out? Yeah, we did. You can actually hear the foliage snapping and breaking underneath the weight of the truck. That's kind of cool. And if we could get ourselves to a muddy position, which is, you know, a strange problem to have, I'd like to see how that responds. Oh, these big old hills over here. Let's go over those. Looks like a Mars rover. Seems to have a lot of power to it as well. Oh, okay. That is not necessarily true, because now I can't go up a hill. No, okay, we did. It's just going to take everything this thing has in it to make it up that slant. Kind of understandably. Looks pretty heavy. And now it's, like, tired out. It's going to take a minute and recoup. What happens if I smash into this telephone pole or this light pole? Will I, oh. Turning on a dime. Not a thing you can do when you have 8 wheels, evidently. Who'd have thought? We'll turn around again and make another pass. Oh, okay. It is solid as a rock. So I guess we're not going to be doing any of that today. What happens if I head over in this direction? Let's see if we can get stuck in some mud. Kind of wanted a nice run-up, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, well, we changed gears, and I didn't have nearly enough speed. But it looks like we might actually get out of this yet. And it did leave a bit of a mud hole there as we stomped through. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That is interesting. I wonder how they model the terrain so certain spots are muddier than others. Because it seems like it almost happens rather at random. You know, in reality, there would be water flow that would contribute to that mud existing. In this case, you know, that's all being artificially modeled. Oh, and we can actually drive over all this, too. That's kind of neat. Whoa. Bouncy car. That actually reminded me of the physics from, like, Unreal Tournament 2004 when they did the vehicles. It was a little bit on the experimental side. The shadows look pretty sharp as well, though. Oh, yeah, look at that. You can see all the tires going over individually. That's pretty cool. Let's turn on diff lock. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's really nice. Very, very cool. Alright, so where else can we take this truck? I think I've already gone over that hill, right? See, this down here, this looks like it would be a muddy mess. And rightfully so, I'm pretty sure it is. Going uphill in mud, probably not desirable. I'd like to take this thing back over to where that water was. If we could maybe cross over that. Not sure how to get back to that, though. I think it's, like, over here, back down the road, and then, like, make a left. If my memory serves, it may or may not. It's a fairly expansive little tech demo. There's more here than I thought there would be to see. And there's a lot of really nice touches between the foliage, the weather, or I shouldn't say the weather, but the day-to-night cycle, so more so. I imagine, though, weather probably would play some factor into this whole thing. When you start adding rain to the mess, and then what used to be solid ground turns to mud, you know, it's going to be kind of interesting to drive over. This could be a bit of a rough spot for me to drive this big truck on, just because, alright, well, I thought those holes were going to suck the truck right down into it, evidently not. So now we'll go over this, and maybe we'll have the torque necessary to make it up the other side. If we can cross this, I'm going to call it a river again. What's this doing to the water if we could get a better perspective here? Yeah, that's pretty nice. Actually running very smoothly as well for all the different calculations it's performing. For the most part, it's been stuck pretty much at 60 frames per second, which is saying something. Even you know, running fraps on top of it kind of takes a little bit more power than normal. Yeah, I think this is where we were stuck last time. So I guess some of the collision stuff that we've done is persistent, which I really like. So if you try to take your truck up through this the first time, and you leave some mud behind, you'll actually be able to catch that again on the second run. So it's actively transforming and terraforming and you know, breaking apart the landscape in a meaningful way. So if you were doing a race with somebody else, you know, at the same time you're both trying to go on the same track, you're going to obviously be able to create pitted surfaces in this road, which are going to be a nightmare to traverse necessarily. So, you know, that adds a whole new level of strategy, and it kind of adds a whole different element to racing than we're really used to seeing in video games for the most part. Looks like the truck might actually be getting kind of dirty as well, which is kind of a good touch. I mean, obviously it should, but I wasn't sure if such a thing would be implemented already. Well, the dirt and the mud flying up out of the tires looked really good for a couple seconds, and then it looked a little jelly-like, like it was hanging in the air for a little too long. But I don't know, I've never driven a truck through all these nasty pits. Can we get a better view here? It's a little hard to see what we're looking at. Alright, so we've actually come out on the other side. Oh, did some nasty work on the truck with that tree. Where does this put me now? I'm in a totally new place. So we'll hang a right here. Certainly not the fastest racing game you've ever seen. But not necessarily so much racing as it is just, you know, a demonstration. Oh, does this actually just... I think it's looped around, possibly, to the other side of the river again? Is that what happened? I'm expecting... Yeah, okay, that is what happened. Very cool. So I guess we will wrap this up then. I feel like we showed off most of what I wanted to show off, and it was mostly about the terrain deformation. I could probably put this back on, right? And, you know, some nice touches. I definitely think Spintires pretty cool. Something I'm going to be keeping my eye on. You know, it got kickstarted. It is going to be releasing as something at some point. I'm not sure what exactly the form of it will be, but now that we know it's out there, something to keep our eyes on. So feel free to go grab the download for this one, the tech demo, I mean, so you can be playing exactly what I'm playing right now. And I don't think it actually has terribly, terribly high system requirements either. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm not actually looking at them at the moment. But I did glance at them at 1 second. I thought I was sort of said to myself, yeah, there's probably a lot of people could play this. So something to keep in mind as well. Go check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very curious to know what you think about this type of a game. It's very far from the norm. Oh, we took down a tree. And looks like the truck is maybe still operational. Maybe. I don't know. Am I moving? I've sort of put myself in a pretty awkward position here. I am moving, yes. But yeah, let me know what you think about playing games like this on Indie Impressions. It's not exactly the typical stuff, but I don't want to just always do platformers and puzzle games and first-person exploration games, so sometimes I like to take, you know, go off-road a little bit, if you can pardon the awkward pun there. So yeah, let me know your feedback on the game, your feedback on the series. Any of that stuff is all appreciated, and of course any support you can leave is appreciated as well. I do really, really like when you like the videos, but that is entirely only if you feel that I deserve those likes. And hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow, because I do a new episode every single day. But while you're in the description grabbing the game for this one, if you want to go download it, feel free to check out my other social media links like my Twitter, my Facebook, and of course indie-impressions.com, where you can go and grab over 500 other games and check out my videos on them on the site, where they're all categorized. And if you're looking to search for anything, or if you've ever wanted to say, hey Nick, couldn't you try this game, do a quick search on indie-impressions.com and see if I have. Quickest way to do it, that way you don't, you know, retread ground we've already tread like I'm doing right now in the game. But anyway, that'll do it for another episode. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow, and I hope you have a lovely night, and don't get your car stuck in the woods. It's bad. Later.